All right, it's your boy Spank Dog, aka Puffinstein at YouTube. Like, comment, share, subscribe. You already know. Charlie Kirk has been unalived, and we're gonna get straight to it. They say that there might have been something said or some sort of sign, or even more than that, regarding his passing 6 days ago. We're gonna see if it's true or not. Big shout out to Minutes of Horror. He has another channel called Seconds of Horror. We're gonna hit him with a thumbs up ahead of time, and let's get into it.
Now, as most of us already know by now, especially if you're from the United States, political commentator Charlie Kirk has passed away after being shot in the neck at an event. Now, before I do go ahead and get into this video, I did see the video of him getting shot, and I think anybody who saw that video pretty much knew that he was not going to survive that. And I'll go ahead and admit this, and it's interesting because, we're so used to watching violence in movies, violence on TV, violence on the news, constantly hearing real life violence. Like, our brains are wired now for violence. Seeing something like that, I almost cried. I really did. And I'm not a person that watches Charlie Kirk, follows Charlie Kirk. Everybody knows I don't do the left-right paradigm.
I don't really like to do the whole Republican Democrat thing. So I'm glad to know that even though he might not agree with some of Charlie Kirk's views, that he still was saddened by what happened, because we shouldn't be numb to people being hurt.
Actual human gets shot like that, and witnessing it really did something to me. And I constantly hear the word fearmonger, or I'm trying to spread fear in the comment sections of my videos, and I constantly tell people I don't see any of the things that I talk about as scary. The only thing I really find scary is the whole AI agenda and weather manipulation, but everything else is just a game at this point. But again, seeing what I saw on video, that really affected me in a way, and it makes sense given the fact that I'm human at the end of the day. And
he's right, man. Yo, listen, a lot of people who are tired of the MAGA Republican conservative extreme far right, doing the stuff that they're doing, the stuff that they're pulling with the immigration and everything. A lot of people, they're very mad. That doesn't mean that you should be numb to the fact that he got unalived on live TV. MAGA nonsense that's going on right now. They're messing up the country.
And make no mistake about it, even if it was somebody on the left or was an independent, I would feel the exact same way. What was captured on video was horrible to see. And I should be able to come on here and talk about how there's violence between people, how people are so angry, how this is a very angry world, and not having to see that there's an agenda behind it, that this was some sort of sacrifice, something along those lines, that this was a person whose life was taken because there are people out there that are angry due to politics, and that is that. But I saw something today.
This video is about that there might be something that said this was going to happen 6 days ago.
Everything is a script. I saw this video right here. Now, to warn you ahead of time, this individual's voice is very, very annoying. It's very annoying. But if you can look past that, then you will see that there is something weird going on.
My man he said his voice is weird. I've heard people that have funny voices, but it doesn't affect me listening to what they got to say.
Going on here, because this was posted 6 days ago. But I do want to say really quick before I play this video, I'm not insulting him by calling his voice annoying, because there are content creators out there that say my voice is weird. I'm just saying it because he is purposefully making his voice to be this way.
Oh, he's saying it's on purpose.
Charlie Kirk has just passed away. His management team came to his official Twitter to say, "It is sad to announce that Charlie Kirk has just been found passed away inside of his Florida home. Charlie Kirk will be remembered as one of this generation's greatest debaters, as well as content creators, news anchors, and abstract thinkers. Charlie will forever hold a special place in all of our hearts." From CK Management, with this picture of him here.
I remember Charlie Kirk now. I seen him debate with a young kid, but he's a heck of a debater. And he roasted Charlie Kirk, if I remember correctly. How is this up 6 days ago? And today is the day he passed.
Extremely viral. This comes shortly after he started targeting Big Pharma, saying how much money exactly has Big Pharma pumped into the campaigns of senators. And some people came out with real numbers showing different corruption. Like, dude, how is Big Pharma paying for all of this? Especially because they're buying positions of power in obvious that's just not okay. And so I wonder if any of that would have to relate to how.
And no, you cannot change the timestamp of a TikTok video. Once it's posted, it's posted. This was posted 6 days ago saying Charlie Kirk was dead in his Florida home. What's even more interesting is that this TikTok video that again was made 6 days ago shows that this post came from Charlie Kirk's actual Twitter account.
Explain that. Everybody wants to debunk everything or whatever. Debunk that. Tell me what's this about. First of all, you could say that the kid, whatever you want about the kid, but he's not controlling Charlie Kirk's page. And even if they hacked it, how did they predict that he was going to leave 6 days later?
From his team. Now, the person that created this video is TikTok channel is called Benzie News 2. I will go ahead and link it below. Now, I can't find the original Twitter post, but more than likely it was indeed deleted. But this TikTok was indeed posted 6 days ago with this Twitter post that was posted on September 4th, 2025. But
that's why, guys, too, if you see anything important and you can't believe that you're seeing it, you might want to screenshot it, download it, whatever you could. Because if it's really that serious and it's authentic, it's going to get deleted.
But I was able to find this. Charlie Kirk posted on September 4th at 11:30 a.m. how much money has Big Pharma pumped into the campaigns of these senators badgering Secretary Kennedy. And then a couple hours later, around 2:13, a TikTok was made where supposedly a post was made on X from his team that he passed away in his Florida home. That indeed sounds like a threat. That is very, very suspicious. Then 4 days later, after this apparent threat, he passed away from a gunshot at this event. So this rabbit hole runs very deep, and we have seen a lot of people pass away when they question Big Pharma. So yeah, I find that to be very, very interesting. But this
is too much. There's no way in the world this is coincidental. You know, I mean, I wouldn't say no way in the world. It just don't make sense, bro. If it don't make sense, it don't make sense. There's nothing you could do about it. It's not logical. That's it. If they timestamp everything, it don't matter if it got deleted.
This might have a twofold effect because I noticed that there is now a keyword trending on social media, especially on X, and that keyword happens to be civil war. Now, I don't believe that Charlie Kirk's passing will lead to a civil war, especially if people go down this Big Pharma rabbit hole. But for those that will not, this is just one more stepping stone to something like that, especially that we're coming off the heels of news about that woman getting stabbed in the neck on the train. And I was actually talking to somebody on X who left me a comment about that saying,
I could believe them trying to sell us an alien invasion. I could believe them going off to another country and fighting or something like that. But us fighting with each other to that degree. And like I said, I'm not God. I could be wrong about anything. I would bet that that's not going to become a reality.
And how they felt like all of these events are being heavily manufactured, heavily scripted to lead us into a giant race war or a civil war. And I said, yeah, I feel the exact same way. It feels like we're getting...
People are too integrated. There's too many people that share different races. This is too big a melting pot for that to take place, in my opinion. Certain things I wouldn't even entertain because then it gives it legs. You don't want to give shit like that legs. You know what I'm saying?
News, constantly flooded with news to the point that we're going to see a big event that's going to break the straw on the camel's back. It's going to bring everything to...
I believe that they're trying to trick us into believing that aliens are coming.
Go ahead. And I'm not saying that there are not natural events out there, people who will naturally cause random acts of violence, because there definitely are. But we have to remember that a little bit more than a year and some months ago, this movie came out, which was actually called Civil War. And upon seeing the trailer, because I didn't see the movie, but a lot of you that did see the movie, and upon me seeing the trailer, we were pretty much all in agreement that this movie was predictive programming for what's to come. No different than Barack Obama's scripted movie, Leave the World Behind. And I know some people will say that, well, this...
With the Civil War thing, this movie was about aliens and having to leave the world behind because there's a natural disaster and them heading to space, or, you know, or them going to a faraway place and leaving everybody behind. So, but what I'm saying is, which one is it? Civil War or this or both. It's okay to contemplate, wonder, and like I said, it's okay. You do whatever you want to do. That's what's really okay. You doing you. But what I'm just saying is, I'm not going to see a movie called Leave the World Behind and think they're going to leave us behind, and then see a movie called Civil War and think there's going to be a civil war. You can't let them control you that much with media and news. You have to eventually go with your own beliefs and thought and your gut.
Was an easy movie to make given the fact of the political climate that we are in today. But I really have to say, ever since this movie came out, and especially Leave the World Behind, things have been really ramping up. And we have to remember, when it came to Leave the World Behind, that movie started with a ship crashing onto a beach. Not too long after,
I think something's on the horizon. I just don't know what it is.
After that movie, a ship actually crashed into a bridge. And when it came to that movie,
a
lot of things came into fruition. When it came to the whole Tesla situation, planes crashing out of the sky, the threats of cyber hacks from multiple different countries. The movie was showing us how the birds were losing their sense of direction. Animals were just acting very bizarre. Deer were angry.
And I just seen a video where birds fell out the sky by the hundreds. They thought it was maybe that they had installed a 5G tower, or they said that it could have been a buildup of toxic gases in the air.
And what are we seeing today? We're seeing the animals acting very bizarre, looking rather bizarre, birds losing their sense of direction and so forth, all types of birds chirping at all different types of hours. Birds that normally chirp during the day are chirping at night like they can't sleep. And what did Leave the World Behind end on? It ended on the note of a civil war. While all these countries were invading the United States, Russia, China, and so forth, we heard on the walkie-talkie how there's a civil war breaking out. The Americans were firing upon each other while all this was taking place. And I did a pretty big breakdown of that movie based on the symbolism. They were telling you who the script writers are of these events that were taking place, no different than the script writers when it comes to a lot of these events that take place in the real world. And
don't, because you hear something, start to make it true. You get what I mean? Don't sleep on that. It could be something coming.
And I don't even want to call this the real world, because it feels like a giant script we're living in. It feels like a giant movie. And like they were showing us at the end of the movie, it's easier to invade America and bring America down when we're at war with one another. Type in civil war in the search box of X, and that's all you're going to see. Civil war this, civil war that. It's time for a civil war. And again, they were showing us this ahead of time. It was going to come. And what's going to happen around the same time? This great blackout, which they also have planned. This is why all these so-called powers that be are buying these underground bunkers. And one might say that, well, if the grid goes down, well, the power will go out for them. They won't be able to operate their AIs, their robotics, and so forth. But we don't know what type of grid they work on. We don't know what type of systems they have that keeps them going. It is going to be wild. We're just going to see nothing but chaos. Matter of fact, what's interesting is that 2 months ago, I made this video right here talking about just that, about chaos, how all we're seeing in news and media is the word chaos, and how we're living in the year of chaos. Again, I made this video 2 months ago.
That's a lot of political people entertaining nonsense. It's a lot of drama. I'll tell you something. Our government needs to entertain real problems, yet they won't truly address the poor. I mean, finances. You couldn't find cheaper people. Certain politicians allocating money to stuff that's absurd instead of allocating money to stuff that they know would help.
Than ever before.
Donald Trump, man, he's no good in my opinion. Even in real life, like I've been out there, and one of my most important things was not letting the wrong person in, spotting somebody who's grimy, who would stab me in the back, some dude who got hate in his blood because he can't stand to see me shine. You see a lot of the super conservative, rich people, MAGA Republicans, they don't want to help people that are messed up. I base my life on helping people that are messed up.
They were showing you on national TV 1 year after 9/11, this memorial, their calling card, the all-seeing eye. So all these events that are currently taking place, like what's happening in Los Angeles, these events to sow chaos, they are all by design. What is currently happening in Los Angeles was always meant to happen, no matter who was president, whether it's Kamala Harris or Donald Trump, because they are testing something. And I'm going to go ahead and get into that a little bit later on in this video. But one of the key words I am seeing by news and media, if you go through these news articles here, one of the key words happens to be chaos. For example, let's go ahead and take a look at some of these news articles. Protesters or agitators? Who is driving chaos at LA immigration protest? Trump's political brand is chaos. Some observers fault feds for chaos in LA County. Chaos erupts in the LA area following increased activity across the country by ICE. Trump's chaos campaign in Los Angeles. Chaos, chaos, chaos. And of course, chaos is a great way to describe what is currently happening in Los Angeles. I go ahead and type in Trump into Google, and what is the second thing that appears? The second thing that appears is Trump, a great chaos. The word of the day, or perhaps the word of the year, will be chaos. So what am I getting to? Well, they always have to show us ahead of time their plans, and one of the ways they do it is through a magazine called The Economist. The Economist,
The Economist. I'm not sure if I've read any of their articles or seen any of their videos.
Featured a couple times or quite a few times on this channel thanks to these magazine covers, the 2024 World Ahead and the 2025 World Ahead, because these magazine covers always seem to quote unquote predict future events. Well, isn't it just interesting that 2 months ago, back on April 12th of 2025, The Economist would once again release a magazine cover, this magazine cover right here, which shows Donald Trump's face, but you can see the words, "The Age of Chaos." It definitely seems like those who own and operate The Economist really do know a lot. Thank you so much for watching.
It's sad, even though he's part of a group that I don't mess with. I look at the people that he was standing with, and I look at them like they are such evil, mean, unfair people. Lies are like a plague at Fox News in the administration. They tell lies like it's nothing. When you have a compulsive liar like that, anything goes, because they'll do anything. Don't expect the truth from a lot of these people. Tell Caroline stop lying. It's still a very sad day. Like I said, that's not how things should be handled. It should be handled with discussions and talks, but it's to the point where you have to reach an agreement. If no agreement is made, then it's just one-sided. Still, the person that's suffering is still suffering, and they start to feel like action is the only way to gain ground. It's your boy Spank Dog, man. Much love. Salute, real love. Much love to all y'all people out there, from a person who really loves like that. Y'all can't tell people that you love them or whatever, man. Stop that tough guy shit. You talking to a dude who's got it in. Man, I ain't even gonna go there. I got it in quite a few times. We'll leave it at that. I don't want that to be glorified. But don't listen to these people who ain't never had a fight in their life. You know what I'm saying? All they do is get into positions of power and command people who are brain dead. You know what I'm saying? That have no morals. They have no problem taking orders. All you soldiers and cops out there that would follow an order, even though it's morally and ethically wrong, you ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? It's your boy Spank Dog, man. Real love, much love. I'm out of here. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk, even though we didn't agree on many things.